Hello. So break-even day today, so not much to really talk about. I actually was wondering what I was going to talk about today. So it was, yeah, pretty much as this as this face is over here. That's pretty much how I felt about today. So I'm going to go through the charts and just talk about what I was looking at and why, and then just sort of reflect on the day. So let's dive into it. Um, Start off with the news. So on different news outlets, we had the German retail sales that came out negative. Okay. And then at 9 o'clock, there was some other news. So it's not all reported on here, but it also, I can't go to like FX Street and then have a look. Actually, you know what I can do? I can go back and have a look at financial news. I'm pretty sure that will show it. Or is it? Yeah, there we go. So you can see over here, we've got German news. Some are orange folder, some are red folder. Got German unemployment rate as well. Then we had just a bunch of little stuff going on. So there was a bit of news about. Not everything was reported over here on Forex Factory, and it was like some like just they had different gradings for impact. So, but based on where we were in the charts and with like some German poor retail sales figures coming out, I was leaning to sells today. So here was a chart. I've replayed some stuff. So I had a slightly different pathway. I was looking at something a little bit here, but it did push up a bit higher. So I sort of just adjusted it. So I didn't take any sells inside of this little area. I was more just sort of seeing how price would react to it. I thought we could see some potential reactions from this zone because of these two candles. And this is the two, like a formation I quite like to see. Two rejection wicks in a London Open time. I should actually go and no, that's fine. I'm not going to show how the daily candle was beforehand. But Euro Asian session consolidated, went sideways a bit. Then Euro session had a bit of a little pump. The um the Frankfurt Open candle looked like this, like it looked like a little doji thing. So it didn't really give too much direction. And I felt comfortable looking for these sells. Not going to say I had thought I was on the wrong direction. Um, but I'll show what sort of led us into it. So the first, it started off with quite a bit of like it bounced off of here. So we did get a reaction from the open of this candle, and that was good for a number of pips. So that's 30 pips right there in the first the first 5 minute candle really. First 5 minute candle spiked up very quickly. I don't take these breakout trades, but it gave a decent reaction. There was one fellow, Glenn, he took the sell from around that area. I think it was in maybe slightly before as well. But 30 pips, pretty good. Could have been it, could have been in and out of that trade in like 15 minutes, which would have been nice. This hour candle, this hour candle that we see here, let me just replay a little bit more because it's showing the whole hour candle. But this previous candle for German Open, because it's like quite a doji spike in the high, there's a good chance it will come back down and like show a reaction in the bottom bit of this wick as well, because that's also like it's just like a range for this hour candle, and then London volume can like create like a bit of a box, and it can raid both sides to pick up that liquidity, and that's actually what it did. So first 15 minutes bounced off that first zone, which was just a reminder, it was these two wick formations that we like. This is the low of that Euro Open. Then the next 15-minute candle took the low exactly and then just powered up. So given this reaction, when it wicked out of this, wicked off of this zone and then took the low of Euro Open and then started pushing bullish again. In hindsight, I should have just gone with it. But I had that selling bias. And I thought what I'll do is like, if something slows down and gives a 15-minute reaction candle, then I could probably trade it down. Otherwise, I was going to look to the next zone over here. And this zone was based on the 2-hour chart. And if I just extend it over to the left, it's just an area that's been, it's not really based on wicks or anything, but it's just an area that has shown, I could even extend this further, you know. You show like, see how like it's just, it has acted as a support or a resistance. Like there's not many candles really closing inside of it. It's kind of like either rejecting off of it or cutting through it. There is a period over here that sort of closed inside of it, but most of the time it just reacts off of it or just goes right through it. So that was something I should have kept in mind. What I was looking for is to see if it was going to actually reject off of here, and then we can trade it back down. So I was keeping an eye on how quickly this candle was moving. Also, keep in mind the range of a London session being around 120 pips. So that would put it 100 pips would 90 pips would be at the top of this range. 120 would be inside of this purple box, purple and green box. So I'm going to show you what that one is because that's going to be important later. So if I go back over here on the 4-hour chart, it's this specific candle. Okay, this specific candle, this rejection wick. So wicked up higher, stabbed up into the zone, bit of structure over here to the left, and then closed very strong bearish. So it's picked up a lot of liquidity inside of this wick. And 3 key areas when you see candles like that, like this, your reaction points are the open of the candle, the midpoint of the wick, and then the high of the wick as well. So that's why I use this GAN box that I've just I do get this question asked a bit, but it's found under, where is it? Should be under Fibs, Fibonacci. Where's Fib? Oh, there we go. Yeah, where the Fibs are. This GAN box. Let me just show you. So it'll be a lot of the time. It's it'll look like if you use it for the first time, it's going to look quite like a mosaic kind of thing. But it's just, I've just turned off all of these things. Okay, so if you want to copy that across and then just see what it looks like on yours, you'll get something that looks very similar to this now. Okay, so I use it because what I can do is I can just measure it on the wick, and what it does is it just gives me that center line as well, which is quite useful. Okay, now going back over to here. So if we go back to the 15 minutes, what I was waiting for and something I learned, lessons learned from the last few days was pretty much just to wait for a higher time frame to give me that rejection candle and then just take the retest from it. I think I got a little bit just trigger happy on this one. So I waited and price gave me it just pushed straight through, pushed straight through that zone, kept on pumping. And I was like, oh yeah, and you know what? Surely it's going to react off of here. So I can get a little bit aggressive, I think. This was the closing of the 15 minutes. Okay, so 15-minute candles just powered up and then powered up. And then we got into this zone. And I was like, well, actually, you know what? They've got a little liquidity candle over here, a little wick doji thing over here. So the 5-minute looked like this. Didn't look totally convincing, but the 3-minute looked like this candle. And this is what lured me into taking the first one, thinking that this was like a little attempted liquidity candle, doji, and then the best entry would have been taking it. It pushed up and then started pushing down a little bit. And I was thinking I'll take it from here, stop loss above it, and then target the way that these candles pushed up so quickly. I thought this would be a bit of an imbalance that it could come back down. So I was targeting like this 44 area, 15,944. I thought that would be a pretty sound idea. I didn't execute exactly when I should have, and price did wick up, and I actually got my entry down lower because I just mistimed. I saw it wick up and then started pushing down. So I entered closer to like here. Then price was just hesitating for too long, just doing this little dance thing and then this thing. And then as it went down, like this is where it got me a little bit nervous. I was like, oh, I just don't like this anymore. I don't like how it gapped above here either. So the next candle, when it wicked down and then started like rejecting again, that's when I just thought I'm just wrong about this idea, or the timing's just not right. Ended up taking like it was just under 4 pips loss. So yeah, that was it. So glad I got rid of it, got out of it. So yeah, it's pretty much when it wicked down a little bit, closed it, and then it just went straight up. It would have taken me out for full. So that was -3 right there, -3 pips. And the 15 minute was just looking strong, and that's when I was just like thinking I should have just waited again. I kind of just jumped the gun a little bit too quickly here. Then 15 minute was looking good at one stage, and then you see how it just like pushed back up, really unconvincing candle here. And then it just really didn't give any other opportunities. So I did take a second trade where let me just see, where was it? Yeah, it was after this 5 minute candle. After this 5 minute candle, looking all right, and then just took a sell. I actually can't quite remember. Maybe it was after this. Yeah, I think it was after this one. Sorry. It was after this one. And then price pushed down. Where'd it go? There we go. That's right. Yeah, this is the one. So it was after this candle. After this candle had closed bearish, I got in on this one. This one, I think I was in a little bit late as well, actually. I wanted to get in above here, and I ended up getting in, I think, like around here or so. Maybe it's a bit clear on the 3 minutes where I got in, because it just pushed straight up. No, not really. Not really. It's not that clear on here. So anyway, after this candle, beautiful, because like this, yeah, that's right. This one here was on the terminal 0.1 higher than this guy. So it actually did break the high, and it created a double top. Got a couple of dojis entries. So I was taking an anticipation entry. So I entered above it, somewhere like this. I think I got a pretty poor entry. Pretty sure I got the entry like there. And then stop loss was above it. Take profit, the same area, that's 44 area. And that was looking at around 45 to 50 pips, not bad. From the get-go, it just went straight up. So that was a bit crappy. And then it eventually did survived the pullback, and then it started to drop. So I closed a little bit at 15 pips. Okay, it was around about here or so. That I closed like 25%. And I was saying at the time, I don't think that's the right thing to do, because I was at the time I was pretty confident we are going to push down, but because I took just under 4 pip loss of previous one, closing 25% of this trade when I was up plus 15, pretty much just made back what I had lost in the previous one. And I was sitting break even for the day, and I had it like wasn't going to let this one stop me out for full either. So either way, I was just going to finish pretty much flat for the day. The way I managed this one was quite interesting, and it's something that I think is important to have a look at. What I was doing here was I was up 15 pips in profit. I'm not going to let this trade become a losing trade. So what my mental stop loss is my entry, but I don't move my stop loss to my entry, because often price will come back up around about here, and then the spread will take me out. So I do give it just one test of this area, and then I really want it just to go away. So it did. Oh no, wait a second. Oh, that's sorry. This is where I got this is where I got in. My mistake. It was after this candle. Yeah. That makes sense. Sorry, my mistake. Just slightly off. So I saw a rejection candle, and then this one closed. Price pushed down, came back up, gave me the entry, and pushed straight up. Yeah, and I got really close to my stop loss, and I was a bit nervous about it. So I still held, and then price then pushed down. That's it. That's exactly what happened. Sorry, my mistake. And then it was about here that I took the stop loss. Sorry, I took 25% partials. Price came back up then. Okay, came back up, and where was it? Dilly dallied around here a bit. So my entry must have been a bit lower. Yeah, I think if I could look at the lower time frames, what it did was it pushed. Anyway, it touched my entry, and then it pushed back down again. And then once it gave one test, then it became a hard stop loss. So then that's when I moved my stop loss down to break even, because I wasn't going to let it come back up here and break its own high, because then often that happens. So it just ended up just completely flat. When I look at the 15 minutes, it just never really gave any sort of convincing rejection candle, did it? So it just went sideways for ages, and then eventually had enough of it, and then price just pushed straight up. So there was no entries, no sells. It just wouldn't give it. So gave it 2 opportunities, and then just had to sort of call it a session. Afterwards, this is what annoyed me a little bit, is this candle. So 15 minutes. This is on the back of unemployment claims from US. Came out good numbers for the US, and I was thinking this is where it's going to sell off from, the 50% of that 4-hour wick, and it did. It did indeed. So couldn't catch any of that. It was way after my session had finished. But those sells eventually came good, because it sold off quite nicely after the close of as soon as DAX closed, it just sold off hard. Anyway, gonna have days like this, so not much I can do about it, really. Just analyze and to see like where I went wrong. And I went wrong. I wasn't very patient with this one. It didn't really give much of an entry either. Anyway, it just went sideways. But the zones, we can see like this one here is the only one that didn't hold at all. But this red zone, based on the 2-hour chart before, you can see our price really just got stuck inside of here. So it's an accurate zone still. Then price bounced up, pushed up out of it, respected it, rejected it, and then found that resistance at the 4-hour wick. So maybe I could have set an alert at this point to have a look at the charts properly, to see if there was an opportunity there. But it was just outside of my session when it really sold off. So not much you can do. The sales eventually came good, but just nothing I can capitalize on. So I'll just leave it there. Tomorrow's another day. We've got NFP tomorrow, so I'll end this recording. I'll see you guys in London.